Well, we are flying over the top of a semi-final of the Thames Challenge Cup for Club 8's Molesey Boat Club, the crew nearest to the camera, easy to spot in black and white. And it's Molesey Boat Club A crew, I should mention, and the Tideway Scullers School on the far side of your picture, rowing with the red and white blades.
Or ketchup and mustard, as it was called yesterday, wasn't it? Enough, they're off. This is always great to see these eights race off the blocks here. Good strong start there from Molesey, I think, on the right-hand side of your screen.
Molesey have a rocking regatta this year, aren't they? The ladies' eight just got through in the semi-final earlier today, and you know, real credit to Franz Infield, who came back from working in Sydney to coach at Molesey Boat Club, and you know, putting together a squad in terms of men and women that are fantastic in terms of their ability. That is Wazza Warren, the 32-year-old, in the bow of the Molesey 8, closest to us at the moment. You can see him approaching us. Bit of a story with him, Adam?
Yeah, that's right. We've been told by the crew that his daughter loves the rowing. Young Evie, she'll be tuning in definitely front of the screen, shouting and screaming and cheering on Molesey, and I think she'll be going bananas at the moment, because this is a great initial lead from Molesey Boat Club. Already trying to push out for that length lead.
And this is pretty unusual to see a crew in a semi-final have a length lead coming up to, what is it, effectively 400 metres or so gone. We should mention that Wazza Warren's not his real name, if you thought that. His actual name is Andy, and he's 32 years of age, the Molesey man on the right of your screen.
So yeah, with one daughter and one due on the way in a few weeks' time. So we're wishing the family all the best there. But this is a great race here for Andy and his crew, as they are stretching out their lead over Tideway Scullers. So Tideway Scullers in the red and yellow on the left-hand side, and Molesey in the black on the right-hand side of this shot.
So if you're Henry Jones, the former Westminster School and Harvard alumnus in the stroke of the Molesey 8, and you're looking back at Tideway Scullers, what's going through your head at the moment?
I think there's sometimes a bit of disbelief when you get a lead like this. You'll be like, is this my lucky day? You know, I think sometimes you'll question whether you've gone off a bit too hard. They might be doing that, but hopefully the cocks will be sort of reassuring the crew that they're doing what they normally do and they're on track. But yeah, that's just something to watch out for, that they might have, hopefully not, but you know, you never know, some crews can get themselves over fired up. But I think this Molesey crew here in the black on the left-hand side of the screen look like they're in good control here, and they look like they've found a solid rhythm here. It's going to be tough for the Scullers crew to haul them back in.
So let's give a name check. We've already talked about Andy Warren, Marcus Lewis, Will Acken, Alexander Steventon, Reese Westall, Ollie Knight, the big six-man. Rowing coach at Surbiton High School, James McMullen in the 7 seat, stroke Henry James we've alluded to, and the cocks, Alex Wayne, who is calling this race in a position of undoubted superiority. Tideway Scullers crew, what can we say about them, Adam, in terms of they weren't that competitive off the start early on. This is now the mid-course pace for them. Molesey look as if they're just creeping away a little bit.
I think so, yeah. I think they're just struggling to stay in contact here, aren't they? And there's a little bit of steering going on here, which I'm not sure if this was planned or not, but just a little bit of minor correction there. But they really need to sort of dig deep if they want to sort of stay in contact here. But it looks like there's a clear water lead there for Molesey Boat Club.
It's Mitchell, the cocks of the Tideway Scullers crew. Struck by Farley Diamond Brown, the 19-year-old in the stern of the 8. It's a young stern 3. In fact, it's a young stern 4. Dominic Newton, George Langston Bolt and Milo Taylor are all just 19 years of age. There's a couple of veterans up in the bow, Dave Rogel, Will Thompson, 30, 31 years of age. But they are youngsters. The Molesey crew is altogether a little bit more experienced. The youngest athlete in that boat is James McMullen in the 7 seat, who's 20 years of age.
Yeah, that kind of fits with the Scullers programme at the moment. They're obviously recruiting a lot of gap year students, so hence there's quite a few 19-year-olds in there in that Scullers boat with a bit of experience in there thrown in for good measure. But I think, you know, like we're seeing here with this Molesey rowing, you know, and what you've mentioned earlier about the ethos they've built at the club, you know, I've been picking up, they run this thing called the Breakfast Club, you know, yeah. And it's we're not talking about the 1980s movie here, so it's not being in detention on a Saturday. Yeah. So you're not in detention this time round, but they get up at 5:30 in the morning during the week, don't they, before work, and get out, hammer out the sessions, grab some breakfast, and then go. Is that right, Martin?
Yeah, it is absolutely right. It's become an iconic thing at Molesey now to be a member of the Breakfast Club. If you have to work, if you can't row sort of through the morning and get your couple of sessions in that way, and certainly the Breakfast Club has become part of the Molesey furniture. And you can see that Molesey Boat Club now really into cruise control, aren't they?
That's right. I think they've almost slipping it into neutral, aren't they? But they are. No, they've got a really good dominant lead here on Tideway Scullers, and now they are, I guess, practicing their best rowing as they sort of approach the enclosures.
Yes, interesting in this 8. We've got the bucket rig, or 2 guys sitting together on the far side of the boat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5. I mean, Stroke's blade is going into bows puddle. You can just see it there. Do you think that makes any difference? Do you think you can tell if you're Stroke that you're putting your puddle into a swirl?
I think so. Sometimes you can. It can feel a bit slippy. I mean, that won't be happening so much now if you look at the puddle separation. So you've got on each side of the boat wash there, you can see 4 neat little puddles, and there's actually a bit of gap. But you know, when the boats are up at top speed and rating 40 or just over 40, those puddles will end up inside each other, and that's when it can really feel quite slippy when you're trying to grip the water.
I gather James Cracknell wasn't so complimentary about the British 8, who had a rig similar to the Molesey 8 in the Olympics, thinking perhaps it should be more conventional. But the coaches do these things. It, you know, can help the boat go a little more straight. You have those 2 guys run behind each other with the blades on the same side. And certainly it's working for Molesey today, isn't it?
And that's the beauty of coaching, isn't it? You get the opportunity to experiment with your combinations, try different setups, and I guess this is after some experimentation. They've optimised their athletes for this rig, right?
So Molesey Boat Club make their leisurely way, and it is leisurely, as they come up to the finish line in the semi-final of the Thames Challenge Cup for Club 8s. In the boat named after Andy Triggs Hodge, the triple gold medalist, and Molesey former captain, and Tideway Scullers across the line a few lengths behind. So the result of that, Molesey Boat Club A beat Tideway Scullers.